everybody. I'm not sure if you're aware, but it is Suicide Awareness Day on the 10th of September, and here at Changes, obviously, we're working really hard to promote information around suicide awareness and support people who are attending our services who may have thoughts or feelings of suicide. So I just want to really give any of you out there who may have worries or concerns with friends or family members that you think they might be having thoughts of suicide, or just for upskilling and having knowledge around how do we kind of deal with this, how do we approach somebody, how do we talk to somebody. So I'm a qualified suicide first aider here at Changes, and I think the 3-step program that we use within Suicide First Aid is a really good bit of information for anybody out there. So I'm just kind of going to give you a little bit of information about how we use that. So step 1 is what we call recognise and ask. So it's about all of us taking responsibility really for looking out for people, just noticing what's going on around us, being aware of other people and how they might be presenting. And if we do think somebody's acting oddly, and the way that I think I describe this is if there is an absence of normality. So if you know somebody and you know their behaviours and you know kind of how they conduct themselves, and that's massively different, for me that's enough of a recognition to think about asking somebody if they're okay. So there's a lot of myths and worries around asking somebody if they are having thoughts of suicide. People think that if they ask and the person wasn't having a thought of suicide, you may then put that seed in their head. That really is a myth. So the information and the facts and the evidence shows us that actually that the person who might be having thoughts of suicide, the one thing that they want somebody to do is ask. And that is a really scary thing, asking somebody if they're having thoughts of suicide. And what I would say is just think about a couple of the things that in your gut have made you think that you want to ask the question. So one of the ways that I might ask somebody is saying, hi, I know you've been experiencing problems with work and I know that's affected your relationship. And actually lots of people who are in your circumstances sometimes have thoughts of suicide. Are you having thoughts of suicide today? And I know that's easy for me to sit here and say, but actually if somebody is, they will be really, really grateful that you've recognised and that you've asked. They just want you to ask the question. So my advice is, if you get that gut feeling or you think there's an absence or normality, you're worried about somebody, try and have the courage to ask the question. So that's step 1. Step 2 is listen and explore. So what somebody who is having thoughts of suicide needs us to do is not offer solutions. They don't want us to fix everything for them. Actually, what they want us to do is listen. And the statistics show that most people who are having thoughts of suicide actually don't want to die by suicide. So one of the things that the Suicide First Aid training also tells us is that a lot of people think there's only 2 options, life or death. And actually what we need to let this person know is there's another option, and that's to pause. They don't have to make the decision between life and death right now. Actually, if we listen and we chat and we talk things through, then there might be another option. It might be, let's not make that decision today. Let's see what we can do. And that leads us really nicely onto step 3, which is safeguarding. So we've got what we call this ball. Somebody's passed us the ball. Yes, I'm having thoughts of suicide. And what we need to do is pass this ball on to somebody else to make this person safe. That might be contacting a family member. It might be contacting the GP. It might be contacting Changes Health and Wellbeing. It might be taking the person to A&E. There's a whole host of things that we can do to support that person to make them safe. So suicide awareness and suicide first aid is a lot more, there's a lot more to it than we've gone through in this small video, but hopefully those 3 steps, recognise, and if you do, ask the question and have the courage to ask, listen to the person, and we listen with our eyes and we listen with our ears. If we're chatting, we're not listening. So let's listen to the person and let's explore what's going on for that person, and then let's offer them some safeguarding. Let's try and make them safe. I hope that's been useful.